Today I'm going to do a quick video just to show you my technique for dodge and burn. So although Photoshop has a dodge and burn tool built in, I never use these tools. Well, not never, but I don't use them, at least for dodging and burning. So I'm going to show you how I do my dodging and my burning. Before I get there, I'll just show you my workflow, because it's not the first thing I do when I pick up a portrait. I'm not going to go through the whole workflow because it just makes the video lengthy, and it's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the dodging and burning. But I'm just going to show you what I do. So the first thing I do when I open an image, so these images came straight from camera, Lightroom, imported into Photoshop. The first thing I do is create a copy of the layer. So I do Control J, create a copy of the layer, and I'll work on this copy, saving always one original image in case I need to revert back in an emergency. After doing this copy, we're going to create one new empty layer, and this is my cleanup layer. I call it cleanup, and this is where I do all my skin clean and my tidy off blemishes and all that. So if you go in here and you go into your spot healing brush, you can spot heal, or if you need to go into the clone brush, you just hit the letter S for clone stamp, and you can clone, clean up some skin blemishes if you need in some areas. That wasn't very good, but I just pull it here and got rid of those skin blemishes there. I'm not going to keep going too far on these because that's another tutorial in itself, but you get what I mean. So first I do these. I would also do, before even doing that, I'd pick up on this layer and I would do liquify if I wanted to use the liquify. So the first thing I would actually do is, if I need to use liquify to correct hairs or anything that I need to correct on the image, I would use the liquify before I do anything else on the copy layer. After that, I would do the cleanup and clean the skin, clean any irregularities. See, she has a band holding those bands there that I don't like. So I'd go there and clean that, and then I would start with dodging and burning. So what I do is, in terms of dodging and burning, I'd create two curves layers, and one would be my burn layer, and I would just pull the curve down in the center and invert that mask so that it's completely gone. Then I'll create another curves layer and pull the curve up more or less the same and invert that. Okay, so now I'm gonna use on these layer masks of the curves layer, I'm gonna use my brush tool. So press the letter B for brush, and with white, you can select the default colors by hitting the letter D, and then you can change them by using the letter X. So you can change from black to white and white to black. Now, painting with white on a soft brush, we're going to use a very soft brush, and we can select the width of the brush. I'm using a Wacom tablet pen. I always would use a Wacom tablet because it gives me more control, but you can use it with a mouse. You just won't have as much control on your lines. See, because if I have this brush size, I can start very slow. With a very small press, almost that doesn't feel, and then I can go to a much larger press there, much stronger, and that density and the intensity of the effect is going to be much different. Continuing to our curves, I'm going to start by going close, at least 100%. I like to do my edits at 100%, but in this case I'm actually going to go even larger at 200%. I'm going to bring that brush size down. I'm actually on the wrong, I didn't rename the layers, so let's rename those layers first and call them dodge and call them burn, so that we know what we're doing and we don't do mistakes like I did. We go and paint with white. I'd like to highlight this effect here of the makeup. I like the eyebrow a little bit. And darken this makeup, give it a little bit more contrast. Make the eyes pop a little bit more. Go into the center of the eye, make it a little bit darker, a little bit more contrast again. And we go around the eye. Don't worry, we're working on a layer mask, so if you go too far out, like I did there, all you have to do is just invert your colors, hit the letter X, and paint with black, and that will conceal the effect. So you don't need to worry too much that the effect is too strong, because you can always go back. That's the advantage of working with a layer mask. Now I'm going to put this intensity a little bit further down, and I'm going to work on the lips, because I don't want the full effect on the lips. I want the lips to be a little bit darker, but just slightly darker. Give a little bit more contrast to the shape here as well. That was a little bit too much. I don't want it to go so far in, so we'll clean it up a little bit. And now I'm going to make my brush bigger and my opacity less, and I'm going to shape her jaw there a little bit. And just give a little bit less highlights on these sides side of the face, balance a little bit better the exposure, and that's it. That's it for my burn. So I'm pretty happy. Like, I would probably go down and burn this arm a little bit more, just to call more attention there. The way I'd balance that would probably be by coming in harder on the burn and burning that area there to make it come closer to the face. This arm is also closer to the light, so it's going to be the exposure is going to be slightly higher on the arm, but this is where I would be going to. That's just a bad job, but gives you an idea of where I'd be going. The same for the legs and all that, but I'm not going to continue doing that. So we just go into the dodge, and the first place that people dodge, and it's a huge mistake when you use the dodge tool. It's just very hard to control and just paints white, really. You know, the dodge tool, it just goes and just throws everything. I can't dodge in there, so it's just going there. It throws everything ultra white. You know, you can control a little bit more of that, but it just makes it unrealistic. Just look at that at full screen, and she looks like an alien. You know, yes, you can bring the exposure down a little bit. So I'm just gonna bring that down, bring the exposure. Before I knew how to dodge, before I knew these curves technique, I'd use that, and I'd go at about 10-12% and use that dodge tool. But still, on those numbers, we were 8% now exposure, and on those numbers you will see, look at that effect. She looks like an alien. Her eyes are completely white. It doesn't look real at all. So we just get rid of that, and we're going to use our dodge layer, which is nothing but a curves layer. We're going to go back to our brush with the letter B, bring our brush down. You control this brush size with the brackets, square bracket keys. So it's the left square bracket makes it smaller, the right square bracket makes it bigger. So you can go and paint with white. I'm at 100% here, and 75%, sorry, opacity here, and you can see that the effect on the eye is not as unnatural as it was with the dodge. You see, it's still too much, but it's not nowhere close to what it was with the dodge. I'm just gonna get rid of these effect in the center of the eye as we darken it, and I'm going to bring it down to about 40%, and again go over everything with the black brush, just to make it a little bit less pronounced. We can also do, in order to control that effect, if it's too much, we can always control with the opacity of the layer. So that will control it too. So you can make the layer less opaque, and the effect will be much less pronounced. So let's go back in here and give you another tip for the eyes, for instance. Let's make that bigger again, and Control 1 to bring it to 100%, and I'm going to pick up this curve and exaggerate the curve to see the areas that I hit outside of the eye. So I've been outside quite a bit, you see. So we need to correct that. So the way we see that is we exaggerate the curve, and then we go with the black brush and we paint on the layer mask with the black. So I'm going to pull that 100% again. The brush is still a very soft brush, so we can work around the edges very softly. The effect and the blend will be very soft and will be very natural. The areas where it blends. And go again here and again here, so we don't undo all the good work of our burn tool. And a little bit more there, and that's it. We're pretty much done. So we go back to our curve, bring the curve to where we wanted it, and we have brighter eyes. They're still a bit too bright for me, so I'm going to pull that to about 60%. I like the effect to be just barely noticeable, but it makes a huge difference even when it's barely noticeable. See, it highlights attention to the eyes. So that's it. We group these two layers. Call it the group. We rename that group to Dodge and Burn. Dodge and Burn. And now you can see the two effects together. How they go together for the image. Okay. Don't like that burn there. It's too strong. I'm gonna make it a little bit stronger. And I'm gonna go, it's too strong down here. I'm gonna pull it down a tiny bit. Pull that opacity down a tiny bit. And we're better now, I think. Yeah, perfect. That's it. So that will sum up our dodge and burn. If you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And share it with your friends. If you don't like the video, don't share it with your friends. Find us on Twitter at iShootDublin or Facebook at RC Portraits Dublin.